Yo, what's going on YouTube? This your boy Comrade Zero Spike back again once again today, people. Today we're here for Comrade Geeks episode 12. We're playing another game of catch up, and after this we caught up with Geeks, y'all. So this episode basically we end this little arc basically full of action in this episode as well. This episode was freaking dope. Especially, man, everybody ended up getting fever. It was awesome, man. Oh god, like action wise, this has to be like the best episode. Like action wise, like this man, it was freaking dope. But this episode basically we got the return of Keiwa. And I'm going off script here, I ain't going all the way down the line, but we got the return of that boy Keiwa, my favorite character, and they brought him back in a very cool and more mature type of way. He ends up getting his memories back by actually touching Geats' ID core, and that let me know that kind of let me know, like, hey man, you don't have to touch your previous core. Like, you don't have to touch your previous core. You just have to touch you can touch any core and you can get all your memories back from the last DGP that you were actually in. And what was really cool about it is the fact that, you know, we got to see the just an awesome fight scene with Geats and Keiwa fighting together against these Jamato and the Jamato Rider. But we also saw that Buffa knows everything. Basically, Buffa, you know, he kind of knows everything, but Punk Jack wants him to, like, technically join them or cooperate with them. And then, like, you know, Buffa's like, no, I'm not doing that. So we did see that the old man, thank God, I'm so glad this old man didn't die. But yeah, he didn't die. Technically, he fought on, and they was trying to get him throughout the episode. While they were running and things like that, old man going through it. Like, he going through it, man. He tired, he beat up, he bloody, he good, man. He done with this. And the reason we get Keiwa back because the old man kind of gives up his player rights. We did see that Geats kind of coax Gidori into, you know, letting Keiwa come back, since Keiwa had like this overwhelming thing of trying to help people and trying to protect people. We see that Gidori lets him come back. Basically, Gidori lets him come back also because of Geats telling him that, hey, like, you know, I would like for you to do. He basically got mad at Geats for giving Keiwa back his memories without permission, and he got him back without permission, and he kind of coaxed Gidori into letting Keiwa come back after the old man ends up giving him his player rights. So after that, we see that Keiwa ends up he runs off and he ends up getting a bunch. He ends up running out there trying to find all these buckles, basically find like a buckle to be able to use. He ends up going to his signature thing, which was the ninja buckle. He ends up getting the ninja buckle back, and we get Ninja Keiwa, Ninja Tycoon, all back up in here again. We also saw that Punk Jack and Sumidi, they're technically cheating, but they ended up finding this book that had the previous players' notes in it, basically showing them how, basically giving them clues on how to open the door, basically get out of there. And Geats ends up coming in as well. He ends up coming up and finding out everything about what they're actually trying to do to him, trying to get him out of the game and things like that. And we see that Punk Jack is like, all right, well, since the cat's out of the bag, we're gonna fight. So we also saw from last episode that Punk Jack also has like a fever buckle. So they ended up almost getting ready to fight, but then Sumidi stops them and basically says that no matter what the circumstances is, I cannot let you two fight each other. So Geese basically comes up with the idea to say, hey, you know, we're gonna come up. This is basically going to be the plan. We're going to basically do this fair and square, and they end up we see everybody basically going off and fighting all of the Jamato again. Everybody kind of gets all back together. We also see how resilient the Jamato riders actually are, and they're pretty hard to destroy, and they're pretty durable, pretty hard to destroy. And they end up getting, defeating them, but we end up seeing another Jamato end up picking up this, picking up the driver, things like that, and actually transforming. And before they transform, they say Jirapria. Yeah, I'm thinking, yeah, Jirapria. And when they say that, they say Henshin as well. So we know that that's when Geats basically figures out that the Jamato have their own language, and that's how they use that. They use that as a clue to figuring out how to open the door. The book that they find is full of like these different symbols and things like that, which is basically the Jamato language, and they have to say the password to get out in the Jamato language. And we see that Punch Jack is like just weirded out on how did Geats figure everything out? How did he figure out how to, open the door and stuff like that after, from last episode, Punch Jack and Sumidi, as he figured out how to open the door. We see that Geats was able to figure it out as well, super freaking fast, and he basically tells them that you're gonna have to do a lot more. You have to do a lot more than that to be able to outsmart Fox. And I was like, yeah, let's do this. So we see that everybody basically throughout we end up getting another fight where everybody was basically separated, and everybody basically uses everybody basically ends up getting a fever buckle. And while they're in the fever buckle, it's pretty freaking cool. I mean, everybody basically, it's not that much of a form change. Everybody just gets golden sashes. Like, everybody just gets a golden fabric somewhere. And we see that everybody's kind of like cycling through all these different basically different buckles. We see that Buffa did end up getting beat. We see that Tycoon did end up getting the water gun thing again. And we saw that Geats ended up getting the drill. Punch Jack ended up getting the ninja buckle, and who am I forgetting? Oh, and Neon-chan ended up getting the propeller, and they ended up, while they're kind of losing, they ended up doing it again, but they ended up getting their own. They ended up getting like their regular thing, but like double that. So Buffa ends up getting double zombie technically, and he ends up he's dual wielding chainsaw swords. That's so freaking cool and metal. Like, yo, Geats also gets double magnum, which he gets like guns, although he gets basically guns everywhere. And he does this big amazing Bayonetta type thing where he got guns on his arms, guns on his feet, and he pulls out two guns. Like, he's out here. Geats was out here. We saw that Tycoon KY ends up getting double ninja. He ends up getting double ninja, and Neon ends up getting double beat. And everybody's just overly freaking powered at this point. They're basically beating everything and one-shotting it. And when everybody basically gets out in the courtyard, we see that Ace ends up letting the kid, because the kid basically ended up figuring out, but he ends up letting him and Neon end up figuring out the password to get out of the get out of the game. He basically, and that is when Ace tells everybody that you basically have to say the password in the Jamato language. So while everybody is holding off everybody's holding off the Jamato, we see that Neon and the little boy end up figuring out how to get out, and everybody ends up getting out. While we see the Jamato trying to chase them and stuff like that, end up getting out before the big swarm that they were about to get hit with. We did see the greenhouse, I'm gonna call him greenhouse guy, but we did see greenhouse guy again. And he's looking at the Jamato and the baby Jamato, talking to them, watering them and stuff like that. And he basically tells them, destroy the DGP. And I'm just like, oh man. So this guy technically is trying to destroy the DGP. But he's also, from last episode, we see that he's using everybody in the game who has basically died. He is using their buckles that they died, their ID cores. Yeah, he's using their ID cores as basically fertilizer for these things to live, for these things to, like, grow and things like that, which is, it's kind of freaking dark. And we see that everybody basically gets out of the game. The bus driver dude makes sure that the brother and sister end up getting home. We see that Keiwa basically has a new wish, and his new wish is technically everybody who's died in the DGP comes back. So, man, that's gonna if everybody, so if Keiwa wins, which I hope he does, because I really feel like this is a way for to let Keiwa kind of be like the main character for a while, and let Ace basically take the back burner for a while, and actually having and then that's when Ghidorah would have a actual reason for him to come back, since the Jamato are basically getting stronger and adapting. We basically might end up seeing like a crisis or whatever might happen for him to actually go off and find Geats and bring Geats back into the game. So, and with the whole thing of everybody who died coming back, if Keiwa wins, that means that maybe Buffa's friend Toru would come back to life, or maybe the old man who died and he only got into this so he can help his son will come back. The girl who was only here for 5 minutes to come back. But yeah, like this could be like a huge thing that they can have all these people come back. Everybody who's died in the game basically comes back at once. But I wonder how that's gonna affect Greenhouse Guy, because he's using these people's ID cores as fertilizer. So will we see like a shortage in Jamato and an overabundance of new writers or old writers that will come back, and we will have a whole most likely have a new crew without Ace and a new game without Ace. But yeah, that would be absolutely freaking cool if we can just have Keiwa be the main character for a while, and then have them have an actual reason to bring Geats back. But man, this episode was actually just a nice. We brought back the boy, like we brought back everybody, a whole our 4 main writers are all back now, and I'm really enjoying that. But you guys let me know down in the comment section below what you guys think of Kamen Rider Geats episode 12, and we're all caught up now. I'm gonna see you guys next time. Make sure to like, share, subscribe, hit that notification bell, and remember, stay henshin.